of the incident. Well, joining me live is the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg in Canberra. Treasurer, I do want to ask you about Britt Higgins and developments there in Canberra this week. But first of all, to our top story this morning, which is the ongoing stoush with Facebook. Have there been any developments overnight?
Look, there were no movements overnight, but I've been in touch with Mark Zuckerberg and we've agreed to talk later this morning. So we'll see if we can find a pathway forward. But the Australian government's commitment remains very firm, very strong to legislating and implementing this mandatory media bargaining code. Pete, this is a very important issue. It's a microeconomic reform. It's about levelling the playing field. It's about seeing public interest journalism protected, and it's about seeing journalists rewarded for generating original content. And the rest of the world's eyes are on us because others have failed where we're now trying to succeed. So let's see how it plays out today. But we did see earlier this week the positive result of negotiations between Google, the other media giant, the other digital giant, and Channel 7, Channel 9 and News Limited. And that will see many, many millions of dollars flow through from that company to these news media businesses.
So just to clarify there, so have you had a call with Mark Zuckerberg overnight to say that you're going to have another call with him later on this morning, or was that yesterday's call?
We spoke yesterday morning, we've messaged late yesterday, and we've agreed to talk this morning.
Okay, does it sound positive?
Well, again, it's too early to say. They have some issues with the code as it is, and they had been progressing deals with the media businesses ahead of their decision yesterday to withdraw Australian news media content as well as close down those other government sites. That was very regrettable, very unfortunate, very disappointing. I think it was heavy-handed. And I think it damaged Facebook's reputation here in Australia.
Are you seeking more support from international leaders?
Well, it's coming, even whether we seek it or not. The rest of the world's eyes are looking upon Australia because they know that this is a very important issue. I mean, we are in the middle, Pete, of a digital revolution. The digital economy is changing the way we shop, the way we work, and of course, the way we communicate. And we were very conscious of that change, and that's why the now Prime Minister, then Treasurer, back in 2017, commissioned the ACCC to undertake a very comprehensive review of this space. And what they found was that there was an unequal bargaining position between the media businesses and the digital giants. And this is a $9 billion annual online advertising market. Now, $81 of every $100 spent in that online advertising market goes to Google and Facebook. And so they recommended to us, the ACCC, that we put in place a mandatory code. We've taken that advice. We've been in deep and extensive consultations with the parties, the stakeholders, for around 2+ years. And now we're at the point where we've passed the legislation through the House of Representatives and look to pass it through the Senate next week.
Okay, just onto the issue of Britt Higgins at the moment, Treasurer. There have been text messages that have been confirmed in The Australian this morning. It shows the Prime Minister's office did know about an alleged assault involving Britt Higgins within days of it actually happening. The Prime Minister still denies that, saying they were told just last week. So either he's lying or he's running an incompetent government. So which one is it?
Well, it's neither, and the Prime Minister gave a statement, as you say, earlier this week where he laid out that timeline, and I'm not aware of any different positions to that. The Prime Minister also laid out a series of processes to improve the culture in Parliament House, and that's really important, including a review by the Deputy Secretary of his department, work that is now underway by Cecilia Hammond, a colleague of ours, who's been the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Notre Dame and is familiar with related issues in an institutional setting, as well as now an independent review across party political lines into the culture in Parliament House. And we are after all, in Parliament House, and the rest of the country looks to our workplace. And we do need to improve the culture and improve that culture fast.
Yeah, you know, the discrepancies, though, aren't washing with a lot of people. And, you know, Treasurer, it's never the incident, it's always the cover-up that brings people down.
Well, I will leave that commentary to you. What I can say is that our focus now is very much on improving the culture in Parliament House. The Prime Minister's laid out a process to do so.
Okay, just finally, Treasurer, Job Seeker and Job Keeper, are you going to be making an announcement next week on that? And will it be a combined package all in one?
Well, I'm not going to preempt any decisions that the government may or may not take in respect to Job Seeker or economic supports across the rest of the economy. We have said that with the elevated rate of Job Seeker coming to an end in March, we will make an announcement about that future rate before that date. And that still remains the case. With respect to JobKeeper, we've seen a dramatic reduction in the number of Australians who are relying on that payment in the December quarter. Over 2 million fewer Australian workers and 520,000 fewer Australian businesses that are relying on that JobKeeper payment in the December quarter compared to the period prior. And just yesterday, Pete, we saw some very positive economic data with the unemployment rate falling from 6.6 to 6.4%, 29,000 full-time jobs being created, the underemployment rate down to its lowest level since 2014. And this is another proof point that the economic recovery here in Australia is firmly underway.
Okay, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg, as always, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.